All right. Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Into the Night Bigfoot Paranormal Talk Radio. Tonight, we're lucky to have my friend, my real close Bigfoot buddy, Wendy. Tonight, Wendy Wilson, and tonight she's gonna tell us a little bit about the situation going on her property, her dealings, and living amongst the Bigfoot, or actually side by side with the Bigfoot. So, Wendy, let's just jump right into it. When did this start? Can you tell us, like, maybe the year or when you started noticing weird situations?
Sure. I want to say hello to everyone. It actually started 2016. I noticed, started to notice like footprints. I think it was February 28th of 2016. We were working out in the yard and we were just kind of picking up sticks and just kind of cleaning up the yard, for spring. And I noticed like some indentations right where our cedar tree area is. And I thought it was odd. And I called my husband over. I'm like, take a look at this. This looks weird. And he was just like, oh, it's probably just like deer, it could be any other animal. He said, it's probably nothing. Like, don't worry about it. And I was like, okay. Well, I like in the grass, I saw footprints, like almost like a bare foot, and it was huge. And I'm like, there's something else. And he just kind of dismissed me, like, no, at the time, actually started listening to Sasquatch Chronicles. And he was just like, you're listening, it's all in your head. You're listening to all those shows. So that happened. So that's when it started, like February 28th. Um, I just started finding footprints. And it wasn't until my older son um, came up to me one afternoon after he had gotten off the bus, and he told me he saw something weird. And um, he brought it up. He said, I saw this creature, and he described it as a black orangutan looking, like it looked like an orangutan, but it was black. And he saw it on the road, like he was on the bus, and he said, like on the road to like our neighborhood. Um, So that's when I said, "Oh, okay." I at first I didn't want to tell, and this happened like when he saw it. It was like the beginning of March, and when I found the footprints, I mean, I didn't want to let them know that there was anything here, just because I know that from the stories kids get traumatized, and so I didn't want to tell them anything until he said he saw one. Like he said, it looked like a black orangutan, and he was kind of hunched over, trying to hide behind a bush. So then I said, "Oh, well, you did see what you saw. I found footprints here." So, um, and then I actually kind of, you know, brought up my laptop, and I'm like, "Okay, like, what did you see? What did it look like?" So I had a lot of pictures of like, Bigfoots, like from Patty to just different kinds of, and he was like, "No, it did not look like that." Um, there was one where it looks like people were having, like, kind of looks, they were saying maybe it could be a bear. It kind of looked like a young one, a juvenile. It was like kind of skinny, and it almost looked like there's a feeder, and he's like, you can see like his back, and he's kind of hunched over. And he said it looked just like that. So I'm like, oh wow, okay. So it was just like long and skinny.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, and I have to thank you too because excuse me, you had actually showed me a few years ago. You showed me one, and it was so huge. No, as a matter of fact, I think you showed me it was like a male, a female, and a baby, and they were laid out in your backyard. Um, and it was just like huge. Like, I mean, I've been in the woods with them,
Hmm.
heard them, heard them walking and moving, but I hadn't seen them on some occasions. But I would not want to see anything as huge as what you had.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. My son was the first one to see one, and after he saw it, um, it was like it kept finding footprints, And I probably didn't see, one with a naked eye until probably about a month or two after that. And, they're huge. And then I kept, yeah,
Yeah,
they're
they have
just, I mean,
it's big, and before I saw yours, I remember certain people would say they had seen squatches that looked like Cornelius from the Planet of the Apes, and I remember you had one, I mean, it was freaky. He was on your skylight, and
yes,
yeah, and he had it was like the one on your skylight, and it's like they say some of them have that grin, and he
yeah,
had a grin. It's like I don't think it's like an evil grin. I think it's just part of their face. They just have this grin.
yeah. He looks really scary. Like the face, I mean, he looks kind of mean, but I don't think, I mean, I was sitting here and I can actually, it's that skylight right there. Hold on, let me put it like
There
that
it
one
is.
there. Yeah. Um, yeah, that time I was working here, I think I was doing either, I'm trying to think what I was doing. I was either making flowers or jewelry. And I was just sitting here and, I get a feeling of being, because when you're being watched,
Right.
you can feel it. And I started to get that feeling and my face started to, I feel like it was burning. Like it was like an intense feeling. So I'm looking around and I look and I saw it. I actually saw it with the naked eye. So I had my phone and I turn around and I'm taking pictures and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's still there. It's there. I looked up at it again. I don't even know how many pictures I took. And then it's like, okay, I'm done. I'm done because I know it's really up there. So
Yeah,
I
it was a good shot
kind,
too.
yeah,
It was a good shot. You got yeah, and you have some of the best. I mean, some fantastic pictures. You definitely do a good job.
thank you.
Really good. I remember there was one because I mean, as big as they are, some of the ones you have are actually kind of funny. Because I remember the one that had the squash and he was running through your garden, the little that
Yes.
that was funny. I was like, what is that was a, let me
And
ask
that
you
one actually, mhm.
this. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I actually haven't shown that. Like, I guess I showed it to you, and I really haven't shown that one because that one kind of looks creepy. It's like this little figure, and it's almost like it's carrying something as it's like kind of running back there. I mean,
Oh,
it's just creepy looking.
and you set up. I'm trying to remember everything that I can because and everybody has to excuse me. I got off of work. Wendy knows I'm a truck driver, and I got off of work. But I
Mm.
wanted to talk to Wendy so bad tonight, so everybody excuse me. Flighty, but did you had two gardens, one for the little squatches and one, or was that just two gardens you were doing because I know you do a lot of gardening.
Yeah, actually, I only have one. I don't feed them. Like, I do not feed them. I know. I mean, my my garden has an electric fence. It's huge. Um, I know that they go into the garden because I found footprints and I have found things in the garden like bones. So I know that they go in there because I have pictures of them in there. Um, but I haven't noticed them take anything. Like I have a lot of like fruits and vegetables that come out of the garden. So I we only have one basically. It's just the one garden. Um, I know I heard stories of people kind of setting two, gardens, so one's for them and one's for, the family, but we only have the one. Now I do have a lot of wild raspberries and blackberries and things like that, but I mean that's the deer get those, and I have a mulberry tree. Like I have a lot of like fruit trees and um so they're kind of like not in the garden, but I haven't noticed things missing.
Oh, that's good. That's good because
Yeah.
some people, yeah. I had one. I won't say the lady's name. You know her, but she's kind of well. She's probably already talked to you. She's leaving the big.
Yes.
She left the big rat. Okay, well, when I invested, she called me out to investigate her property, and
Yeah.
I remember they were buck wilding at her house. They were getting on the roof,
Yes.
and
And
they
I
got
know.
to a trash can, and
Mhm.
they were eating her like she'd have leftover Burger King trash cans, and they take the lid off and eat the Burger King. It was crazy. But go ahead. I'm sorry. Forgive me.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, and I feel so bad for her because, I mean, and that's one of the reasons why I don't, they can fend for themselves. I'm not gonna start any kind of just because you hear stories that when you stop, they become aggressive and they come, kind of banging at your house. Luckily, I don't have that. Um, I just feel like they are kind of curious and they kind of look at, through the windows and, um, through my skylights. And my cat is kind of right now going up and down, up and down. So sometimes I think, she can sense or she'll look up at the windows. And so it's kind of like usually I'm not up here like this late because I know that they
Oh,
get up
oh,
there.
so they kind of like to fool around at night.
Yeah.
Do you Let me ask you this. Do you I have a ton of questions for you? Do you
Mhm.
hear them sometimes at night moving around?
Um, usually I do not, but there have been times, not often. I have heard them before, like if I'm working, when I back in 2016, I do a lot of arts and crafts, and I have this little room. It looks like a loft. Um, so this is like my own personal space, and I do a lot of arts and crafts here. And at night, I would hear a pebble like hit like my glass doors or my siding, um, towards like I guess I'm trying to see how I can explain it. Basically, as I'm sitting right now, it would be to my left. Like there's my great room, and I have big triangular windows, and there's like a fireplace. They would actually throw like a little pebble, and at first I was kind of confused because I didn't know what that was. I did find pebbles like on my deck. Now I know that that's what they do to kinda get my like, say, "Hey, I'm here." Um, there are times where if I'm, working or, um, if it's, like, 11 or midnight, like, I'll hear, like, a tap, you know, then it's kinda like my cue to be like, "Okay, I'm done. I'm not go I don't"
Right.
"I'm going to bed."
Or you look up and Cornelius will be looking at you.
Yes! So
I,
I don't
I,
wanna I
I
don't
got
wanna see them.
right. So here, so do you feel? Do you And I'm gonna ask you, but I think you and I are on the same page with this. Um,
Mhm.
do they ever? They don't. Do they ever try to talk to you?
No. I
Okay.
know our friend, our mutual friend, she says that she talks to them, I guess I think people call it mind speak. I do not know. I haven't had that happen to me.
Okay. I figured. But I just wanted to so we could talk, kind of let everybody else.
Yeah.
Um, do you how do you feel when they're around? Do you ever feel a sense of dread, or do you feel good, or is there any?
Um, I actually, I know that I feel when they're around for some odd reason. Um, I know, like if I'm outside, I like at first I thought my neighbors were watching me. I figure, I got this feeling that I was being watched. I think it was them. Um, there have been times where I have felt scared. I was mowing, I got late and it was already like it was still daylight outside, and I was mowing towards the back of my property. And I think it was like about 7. Normally by like 5 or 6 I'm done. But I had gotten delayed, and I think it rained that day, and I had to stop, and then, I actually got started again a little bit later. So it was about 7 or so when I was mowing the back, and I'm mowing, and I started to feel like I shouldn't be here. This like kind of dread. Um, and I made a turn like with my mower, and when I kind of looked up, I saw a figure hiding behind one of our trees. Like I saw like the from the shoulder down, and it was black, and it scared me. So I'm on the mower, and then it's a zero turn mower. So I turned back again to look, and he was already gone. So, I figured, okay, I'm like, I hurried up, like I finished. I went ahead and like did it really, really quick. I finished, and then I came back, and we have to kind of clean the mower, blow it off, and everything. So my husband was helping me do that, and while he was doing that, I went ahead and took pictures towards like my cedar trees, and then I have like a huge figure that I captured that day. So I think that's the one that was probably watching me when I was on the other side.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
but it doesn't happen often, but I just feel like I'm being watched. I don't feel like evil. I don't feel like, like they're going to harm me. Um, I don't get that, but I'm not also, I'm not going to be friendly or they're kind of like, they can,
Right.
they can have the yard and live and let live kind of a thing.
You're not going to be bargaining with them and leaving them
No, I'm not going to be, yeah,
whoppers and right. I got you.
yeah.
Um, yeah, your situation seems good because what I've been getting now is a few reports. I'm getting people that have mind speak. Some people even saying they feel that it's something coming. Like it's some
Mhm.
people. It's like a kind of a division. Some people are like, okay, well they're friendly, they're cool. I feel comfortable with them on my property, and other people are like, well, I don't want them. They're a nuisance, or I feel that they're bad or they're evil, or
Mhm.
I feel that a time's coming when their fury is just going to be unleashed upon us. So it's several, different things going on now.
Yeah.
I'm only speaking from what I've heard. I'm not saying that it's going to. We may have a
Mhm.
happy ending, but
Mhm.
I'm not positive. So let me ask you this: how is your husband dealing with it?
Well, at first, he was just like, "No, they don't exist." Um, it took a while now because I think he's heard and he's seen like shadows, so he's kind of better now. He's more understanding and he knows that there's something out there. He believes that they exist now, and I mean, he's taken me to like Bigfoot conferences, and
Right, right.
he kind of listens
I'm not
to
a
me now. Yeah. So he's a lot better, but at first he was just like, he's a big skeptic. Um, like pretty much, you know, doesn't see what I see. Like he doesn't want to look at my pictures or anything. He's like, no. But he's actually better now.
yeah, I understand. I have a buddy like that. Um he doesn't want to know because it scares him to death. So
Hmm.
he always says that they're not real. Like he'll be like, they're not real, they're not real. And I say, well, you can
Yeah.
come with me if you want to see one. You know,
Yeah.
go out or we go camping or something. But he doesn't. It just totally it scares him. So he's like, I don't want to believe in it.
Yeah.
Do, do you? Uh, how are the kids handling it? How do they?
Um, they're actually, it's almost like they're on the same, my husband says, oh, it's nothing. They kind of, they know that there's something out there because, um, they've heard them with me, like, we've been together, like, the 3 of us, and we've heard things and things we can't explain, and,
Right.
again, my older one has seen one. My younger one has heard them. They know that there's something out there, but I don't think they care to know. It's almost like, they don't it doesn't bother them, like, um, how do I put it? It's almost like, for some reason, it's me, like, I wherever whatever room I'm at, they know where I'm at. They'll come to the windows and look. like they leave my sons and my husband alone unless like it's just me and my sons. Um, well, let me tell you like a story that we had.
Mhm.
And this again was back in 2016. Um, we were watching a movie
Mhm.
and we were in the living room and my husband had already gone to bed, and this was like a Friday night. I think it was like 10 p.m. And the
Mhm.
three of us are sitting there and we kept hearing this plastic container kind of get dropped on our deck. And the three of us were like, did you hear that? You hear that? And then, the three of us heard it. So I asked them, do you guys want to come up with me, like on the deck to check, make sure there's, go check it out. So the three of us actually walked outside. My
Mhm.
husband has this huge light. So we went out to the deck and we went down the steps to the bottom to check. I mean, we didn't see anything. We got down the steps and under the deck and we're looking around. And then as we're looking, we heard this and it was like soft. It wasn't like I don't know how to explain it. It was kind of like a grunt, but it was like soft.
Mhm.
And my older son turns to me and he says, "What was that?" And I'm like, "I don't know." And then so it was almost like on the side of the house. So we're kind of the three of us are kind of huddled together and we're walking, to kind of check and it was nothing there. And then we heard it again in our wood line. And then we heard it running like on like bipedal. And my younger son goes, "Look, like it's running." And it sounded like it was running towards my neighbor's barn. So and then we were like, okay, we're going in. So we came in the house. We were done.
Right.
But
You're
yeah.
right. I understand. Yeah, that's kind of it's kind of weird when you first hear the running. It's weird. I remember my first time. It's like they took off. When they take off, it's like a bang. Well, from my
Yeah.
experience, not to say everybody's, but mine is like a track star. It's like a huge, it's bang, and then they start trucking, and you hear it. It's real trippy.
Yeah.
Um, do you let me think, when they come around
Hmm.
and you get a glimpse of them, do they sometimes look transparent?
See, okay, you were the first one that mentioned to me because I sent you some pictures, and you were like, "Oh, yours are more spiritual." And at the time, I was like, "I don't think so," because I've seen them like flesh and blood. Like to me, they look solid. When I've seen them with a naked eye, they look solid. Like, I mean, I can't see through them. They look like, flesh and blood. But when I take pictures, there are some pictures that look kind of weird. And, like you said, they're more spiritual. And that's what I'm getting now. A lot of more of like on the spiritual, like in pictures. Sometimes they look solid and sometimes they do not. So that I cannot understand.
Yeah, that was and you and I discussed it. And I remember it was like
Yeah.
yeah, it was really unusual, but I could still see him like old Cornelius on the roof in the sky. I could see him, and then I remember. I think it was. Remember that scary situation? I think was it that your youngest son saw one. He came home from school or something, and he saw the one, and he was on the walkway and hopped by the front doors. Was it your little boy? Well, he may be dating
I don't
him.
think that. Yeah. I don't think that might not have been me because he hasn't seen. He's only heard them. Um, my older one's the one that saw like the when he was on the bus. Um, but they haven't said like actually they have seen both of them at the same time. One year we had ice and we were cleaning up like the deck because there was all this like ice. And my husband was on the front side of the house, and I guess he was cleaning, I guess I'm not sure what he was doing in the front, but the three of us were in the back trying to kind of scrape the ice off the deck. and we heard like because everything was covered in ice. So if you walked, you would hear, the cracking of the ice and everything. So we're cleaning up, and then in our wood line, we heard like the crack, like the ice crackling. And my sons, they say, "Oh, like, what's the neighbor doing there?" And I'm thinking, the neighbor, like on our property. And by the time I looked, like there was nothing there. I didn't see
The
it,
neighbor.
but they saw it. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, like our neighbor wouldn't be in our woods, like walking around like in the ice. And I'm thinking it would have been pretty huge for them to see it from the deck. Like if it was a person, the person would have been like a lot smaller, and I don't think they would have been able to see. But they said they saw the figure, and they just attributed it to my neighbor. But and then my husband and I actually kind of were talking, and we were like, at the time, like, do you think it could have been the neighbor? And we kind of walked that, towards the area, and we were like, there's no way it was a neighbor. So I mean, I think they saw I mean, I guess he was curious to see what we were doing, and the ice, because I mean, it was so much that if you stepped, it would make a noise, like you would crack. So then when it cracked, like they looked up and they saw it.
Mm, okay. So they heard the crack and then they looked up, and the boys
Yeah,
saw
yeah.
the Bigfoot.
But that they did see the one, but they think it was the neighbor.
Okay. That's yeah. That's real crazy.
Mm.
Do they you think do they eat the berries that are in, I guess they're in your woods? Do they mess with the berry trees?
A lot of them go missing, but we also have deer, and we have a lot of birds. So a lot of birds can take it, or deer. We do have other wildlife. I mean, they probably do eat it also. I mean, I don't know. We we have a lot. Like we used to collect the ones in, the wild ones in the ones that were growing wild. But we right now we have a lot in the garden, so we don't even touch those. So they kind of go to the wildlife.
I hear you.
Mm.
I'm gonna let me ask you. This is a question that a lot of nobody really asks in this Bigfoot scene. Do you do you feel that they add kind of like a certain energy or excitement to your homestead, or if they just left, would you be okay with
Well, I think that if I didn't, I would be okay if I didn't have anything here. I think that that would be great. Just because I mean, I know that my family, like the ones that know you know what's going on, and they see my pictures, they're excited because they're like, oh, have you seen them, or um, they would want to see them. But if you come to my property, like you wouldn't even know there's anything there. Like it looks normal. They don't make any noise. They hide, especially if I have company. They hide really well. Like you can't see them. Um, but it's almost like I've changed my life around to where I have to close the house down. I love windows. Like I love to have my house has a lot of windows. And now it's like, oh, I don't know if I want this many windows. You know, it's just too many windows now and too many skylights. And that's what I loved about the house. And now it's like I actually, at the time, I had sheer curtains, just because we didn't have a neighbor. Like we had an empty lot across from us, and then our neighbor behind us, he's kind of a little. We have trees to kind of block us from him, so I had kind of sheer curtains. And now it's like, no, I had to go, and we bought those thermal blackout curtains, so you can't really see.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I
so
got something about that.
yeah.
Do they work? Do you feel comfortable with them?
Yes, but I also have those triangular windows that I mean, I don't have anything there. And my skylights, I mean, I don't. And then this room here, it's sheer because it's a
It's
round
nice.
window. Yeah, so it's kind of I don't know what to put on the round. And usually I'm not up here like at night. I'm done, and But
I
usually, if I
love the
am up
word.
here, yeah, if I am, I can guarantee you they're probably out, looking in because they get curious when the lights are on.
Oh, okay, okay. It, well,
Yeah.
it seems like your situation is it's pretty cool because you don't excuse me, you don't have any really crazy situations. They're not trying to kidnap the kids. They're not trying to kidnap you. They're not
Yeah.
doing anything
And
crazy. So I guess go on.
yeah. No,
I'm
I
listening.
think I'm blessed, with that I don't have issues. Like, I've heard encounters when it's like terrifying where they come and bang on the house, or, I mean, I know that I do get scared. And my dad basically said, if they wanted to harm you, they would have done it like a long time ago.
Right.
Um,
Right.
they're not banging, they're not, doing, um, I guess, things to kind of upset us. And, you know, and I guess I'm blessed that that's not happening. And I do kind of walk around my property and my house and I pray, you know, I, pr- and I'm assuming, I mean, I don't know. I think that if I pray, I mean, it doesn't seem to affect them. They're always here. So I mean, I don't know if, I know that I've heard, there are demons and they're evil. And then I've heard that they're good. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what they are.
Right. Yeah. None of us do.
Yeah.
I always, I always say it's probably that one or two old ladies in the mountains that lives beside them, and they know. But we'll never know. But it's
Yeah.
always probably that one or two little ladies somewhere around the world. But
Yeah.
how do you feel about? Well, let me ask you this:
Hmm.
do you know have you seen like? Do you think it's a group of them? Are they a bunch of males? I know you have a female because I saw a female, but do you think it's a group of males and females? Do you think it's a family, or do you think it's
I do think it's a family. I think it's a clan. And I think it's a bigger clan because I've seen different size footprints. I found little footprints, and I've taken pictures of, like, I've actually seen them with the naked eye. I've seen the little ones. So, and I did hear a female. Um, the females, it's hard. Like, I think I see the males. The females tend to kind of hot. I don't know if they're kind of hidden more. Um, but I do think that it is a bigger clan, just because have found, like, I've seen different colors and different faces. There are some that are like orange looking, some that are like reddish brown, kind of gray. There are some that are black, and there are some that are black, completely black, like black face and black hair, and some that are black hair and lighter face, almost like a gray. So there's different varieties of them, and some look more human and others look more monkey like. So I don't know if they're from like different tribes that kind of come and, whether they come and visit each other, or I don't know, just because they look so different.
and I think we I think it's Patapsco. Do you have a Patapsco? I think Patapsco River goes to Virginia. I think if I'm correct, Patapsco goes over to Virginia. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I think also perhaps maybe we should kind of share them. I think if they do travel physically, I
Yeah.
know in Maryland State we had the Sasquatch sighting with the, like you said, like a reddish
Mm-hmm.
and black. And we had two real popular ones that were sighted a lot around here years ago. And I think they probably travel between our two states too. That's my opinion, just because we share a lot of the same. We being in Virginia, us Maryland State, we share a lot of the same. I guess rivers,
Mm-hmm.
and that's, like they say, that's their highway. Um,
Yeah.
go. You
Yeah,
have some.
and that's what I've heard also, that they use the river as, a highway, and I am like right by the river. Like I'm like right like on, I guess, at the tip of I think I'm right at the Appalachians, and then I have the river, so I'm like, okay, so it's probably more, I'm like right in the middle.
Like in the middle, in the middle of the Bigfoot woods. Right. So, yeah. So the oh, I got this. Um,
Mhm.
how does your mom feel about
Well, my mom, she's kind of excited. She wants to kind of she comes here a lot and she takes pictures. And my mom has cat like faces in her pictures. She wants to see one, and she actually did see something. She was leaving one day. She came to visit, and as she was heading out the road, like to our neighborhood, she was on that road, and she said she saw something more like a reddish. It jumped, like it kind of went across the road like really fast, and she said it almost looked like the color of a deer, but she said it was too big to be a deer, and it was really fast. It was almost like a skip, and it was on the other side of the road. And but she'll tell you she doesn't know what she saw because she can't explain what it was. She said it did not look like a deer, but it was the color almost like of a deer. And last year we had gone on vacation, and my older son had to work, so he's at home working, and she came over just to kind of I guess cook him lunch or whatever. And she was here, and she was also kind of watching over my garden, and she was outside picking blackberries. She was in the garden, and it was hot, so she had a hat on, and she's over there picking blackberries. And she said she felt like something was kind of falling like on her hat. So she thought, oh, maybe it's like tiny little leaves or branches, or some, she thought maybe the wind was knocking down little things on her hat, until she had a tiny little pebble land right next to her, and she actually saw the pebble. And she got scared because I think they were throwing pebbles, like little tiny little pebbles. They weren't big. And she said that it wasn't like the pebbles that we had in the garden. The garden, we had like a gravel pathway, but she said it was different. It was small. And but I think they were throwing little things at her hat. And then after she felt that, she was like, okay, she came in the house, and she was done. And also, sorry, she's also
no?
heard, um, for some reason, like I think I've heard them communicating. I don't know how to explain it. It almost sounds like a language, but it's like a tongue clicking sound, like
Right.
something similar to that. But it sounds like a language. I've heard it when I'm by myself, and she's heard it. We heard it recently together, a couple of months ago. My mom and her came to visit, and they were getting ready to leave, and I'm saying goodbye, and we're like on the sidewalk, and I'm hearing it. And she looks at me, and she goes, "Do you hear that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, do you hear it?" Because I mean, I can hear it, but she was also hearing it. So I'm like, "Okay, are you gonna record it?" Because she had her phone out, and she was taking pictures. I don't think she got a chance to record it. And then I said, "Let's go get my dad," because it's constantly going like. And when we got my dad was already in the car because he was ready to go. So I'm like, "Dad, come out and like come listen to this." And the funny thing is, when my dad got out, it stopped. Like it stopped completely. And we were like, but we could hear it like before, we told him. And then again, like when he came out, they stopped. And I thought to myself, well, if it was a bird, like it didn't matter, it would have kept going if, whether my dad came out or not. But it was just so odd that it completely stopped.
Mm,
when my dad came out to listen. And it was
I,
just me and my mom that heard it.
mm, yeah, they click like I talked to. I had a meeting near DC one night, and I talked to. I think it's like a forensic anthropologist. I think they're called
Hmm.
forensic anthropologists.
Mm-hmm.
We had talked about it, and we were thinking that perhaps they have a connection to Africa because some of the tribes in Africa do a click clacking in their language syntax.
Yes.
So I mean, he's much more thorough about history and tribes and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So we were thinking that perhaps maybe in history when the Bigfoot Foster came over, or however they got here,
Yeah.
that
Yes.
they picked up something. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to tell you, my husband and I, we went to a Bigfoot conference in Virginia with Daniel Benoit, and
Right.
there was a speaker there. Yeah, there was a speaker that had this
Oh, this
video
everybody. This is Jim
with.
and X's not here. Sorry.
It's okay. But we were there, and this guy's playing, like one of the presenters was playing a video of the doctor from Expedition Bigfoot, I think, Dr. Maria something. She was, I guess, when she was younger, she was looking at the primates, and I'm assuming it was Africa. And I'm sitting there listening, and there's this guide. The guide, he comes out and he's doing the clicking sound, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's like what I hear, like a, it's almost like a language. And he was clicking, and it was basically to him, he was doing it to let them know that they were coming, they were like friendly, that they were coming onto their, I guess, property, or their territory, and they were being friendly. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I looked at my husband and I'm like, that's what I hear. I hear this clicking. And then I thought to myself, when because I hear it often now. Before I had heard it twice, but now I hear it more often. And I think to myself, are they letting me know, hey, we're coming in, like we're not being aggressive, that they're being more like friendly. We're here. Because um couple couple of weeks ago I was on the deck. Me and my husband were sitting there, and then he came in, and then I kept hearing it. And I'm like, I know, I can hear it. And he's like, oh, it's got to be a woodpecker, or it's got to be a bird. But I'm like, but it stops when you're like out here. When you're out here, it stops. So, I mean,
Oh,
I don't know.
that is great. I'm starting to think they probably gravitate more towards your mother and you than they do the males. I don't know about your sons, but it seems like they're more maybe they don't feel as comfortable with the males and they look at them.
Yeah,
But I think with you and your mother, they probably like,
yeah.
okay, well, we're comfortable. We feel that they have
And
a good
maybe we're
vibe.
not threatening. Yeah, because my husband works, he's outside a lot. Like he's always like working outside more than me. Um, and I mean, he's out there and nothing bothers him. He doesn't, get anything. Um, we did hear something probably about a month or 2 months ago. We were in, maybe a month ago. We were in the garden, and it was kind of in the late afternoon, and we're standing there, and we heard like something was coming toward, like, from our woods. Like we heard like almost like branches breaking and like leaves, and like something was coming, and we looked at each other, and we looked towards our woods, and we're like, I don't see anything. Like we couldn't see anything. We actually walked over, and we got to the area, but there were so many mosquitoes because we hadn't gotten a lot of rain, so they were really bad in the woods. So you were like, I don't see anything. We're back to the house.
I'll say, it's only the largest discovery in the world, but hey, the mosquitoes are going to tear
Yeah, I
us
don't
up.
want to go check.
I know. I know. It's been plenty of times between mosquitoes and ticks. I'm like, look, I'll
Yeah,
just have to forfeit it. I got you. I definitely understand.
yeah.
Uh,
I I mean, we didn't see anything. We did look, and the area. I mean, there was nothing there. Then again,
Well, then again, they may have been there. You know how they hide,
yeah,
like you said.
yeah.
And I know, but let's talk about it again.
Hmm.
How do how do your neighbors
Okay.
have you talked to them?
We have. I know at one point I didn't want to sound like I was crazy, so I didn't want to, bring it up or anything, just because we were the new people here. But now, my husband has asked, like, we had, they had like a bonfire. We have like a common area where, that's like right by the river that we kind of have gatherings, and the I guess the neighborhood was having like some kind of bonfire. So all the neighbors were there and they were having like hot dogs, drinks, all kinds of stuff. And my husband brought it up. Hey, are there any, weird, anything weird around here? And then he asked about Bigfoot. And they all laughed. They all were like, oh, those things don't exist, except for one neighbor. One. Yeah. One neighbor, he said that he has heard, um, and this is before we even moved here. Before we even bought the house. Um, a year prior to us buying this house, he said that it was like in the winter, and he had gotten up. I think it was like 6:30 in the morning, and he looked outside, and they were footprints in the snow, and he said that there was like a bare foot, and he went to look at it, and he was like, it was big, and he said that it was a line of them, and it had like like a 6 foot stride, and it went from his property over to an empty lot that's between us, us and him, and then it came to the corner of our property, and then it went to like there's another property kind of diagonally from us. It went to that property and back to the river. And he said he took pictures of it, but I think something like happened to his phone or something, that he didn't have the pictures anymore. But he said that, and that was like a whole year before we even, moved here. But he's the only one.
The only one, yeah. So that's crazy. So it's almost like maybe like that's one reason why I was thinking maybe they're kind of spiritual because it's like they're around your property. And I was
Hmm.
thinking like if they're physical, like, if they were like 100% physical, would if they get curious of the other neighbors, probably like, hey, okay, Wendy's property is cool, but hey, let's go check out the other people.
And I'm in the middle. Like, I'm in the middle. And I have houses. Like, I mean, we have land, so the houses are kind of spread out. But I'm in the middle. I have neighbors behind me. I have neighbors like in front of me, next, like on both sides of me. I mean, I have neighbors. So I would have thought that, they would kind of hang around by the river where I mean, my property does have a lot of trees. And so I guess they can hide. The other neighbors, it's all pretty much flat, land. They maybe a couple of trees here and there, but not as many. But nobody seemed. I mean, we've asked, and they are kind of just laugh, and those things don't exist. That's what they're. So I mean, I'm assuming, and um, there are people that kind of walk here, like when it gets dark, and you can kind of see them kind of walking, and some of them kind of camp on they have like tents on their property. So I'm thinking, they must not have any issues with them because I wouldn't do that.
And it is camping out and it's just oblivious, totally oblivious
Yeah,
to things.
yeah.
Yeah, and when you may not remember, but we when you and I were talking about your situation, I
Hmm.
always said I think I asked you about is there a river or some type of waterway near your home, and that's how that was like what I was kind of thinking that perhaps they were. coming in and out, depending on if they do leave,
Mhm.
depending on if they're physical, ethereal, uh, everything kind of likes to move, whether it's animal or human. We don't know what you don't like to be in one small area, like
Mhm.
you know, things like that. So perhaps that's they're using the waterway near your home in and out. So
Mhm.
if it's there that you don't see them, maybe they went along that river, going to do their thing, whether it's hunting or mating or meeting up with another Bigfoot
Mhm.
family, perhaps. So neighbor-wise, there's one neighbor that does believe.
Yes, one, because he's heard. Like I said, he's seen the footprints, and he's actually heard them. He's and he told me this probably about a year ago or so, where he was working late, like in his garage, and it must have been like maybe like 1 in the morning or so, and he heard like a like a scream that scared him. So he was like, okay, like he stopped doing what he was doing, and he went to bed because it scared him.
Yeah, because
But
sometimes they'll be like, ah, and they'll let out a, and they,
yeah,
they'll let out it's real quick.
yeah, mhm.
Um, so now we just got to work on the rest of the neighbors. We got to get them
Yeah. Well, yeah.
leave a turkey in their backyard tied to a tree. They'll have some big food.
Well,
But
that's the thing. We have like lots of other, like we have lots of deer. We have wild turkeys. They kind of, they're on like there's a lot of them here. So I mean, I don't know. I guess they would have plenty. We do have coyotes. We have foxes. So I mean, there's plenty of wildlife. So I guess they. I mean, I don't know. And I know that what I mean, I don't. It's one of those things where like I don't understand because I have seen them like solid, and they leave fingerprints, footprints, hair. So I mean, I don't understand that if they are one thing or do they become like I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
yeah, and it's yeah. I know it is confusing because it's like in our minds as human beings, we're like, well, we have to see it. A lot of people have to see it, like your neighbors, they have to see it too.
Mhm.
And
Right.
dealing with these things that could be what they say stuck between two worlds, it's real confusing because, like you say, you have the hair,
Mhm.
you see the prints, but then you see them with your own eyes is physical, and then through a camera or a cell phone, then you see them as transparent or almost transparent.
Yeah.
The way they hide, and a lot of people across the U.S. and the world, the pictures that they're getting, a lot of times they'll be looking transparent or they blend in. And everybody has their idea. Whether it's the fur is like that. Like for example, a deers hide very well. Sometimes if you see a deer at first, you don't, and then you do. It's just sitting there.
Mhm.
Their fur. But I think that with them doing that, I think it's something, no matter what they are, whether they're half ghost, half Bigfoot, or half demon, half Bigfoot, half angel, half Bigfoot. I think that that's a mechanism they use to hide.
Mhm.
From what a lot of people, and then sometimes they'll look like they'll blend in. Like I've gotten pictures where it looks like actually it was a funny shot because it looked like the Bigfoot was just starting to go transparent. And then he saw me and then he was like, well, it's time for me to disappear.
Yes.
But I think it's I think it's a defense mechanism or protection, to
Hmm.
be hide and everything. Do you think that there was, and you and I had talked about this before? Was there a type of some type of war around your property, or some type of like I'm talking maybe hundreds years ago?
Hmm.
Was there any
Um,
historic?
yeah, I need to look into like the history of the property. I don't know. I know that we do live in an area where there would have been like the Civil War, and I'm sure I'm closer to, I guess, where there would have been wars fought here. Um, I don't know, and then I have been told, to go and research. I haven't done it,
Right.
just to see what All I know is there used to be an apple orchard.
Mhm.
Um, so I don't
That's
know what else.
I
Hmm.
remember you told me the apple orchard, right? Right.
Yeah.
That is crazy. Yeah, because you and I had discussed that, and I thought of that, and I said, well, maybe it was something. Maybe it's a type of energy the land's giving off that keeps them there on
Yes.
right in
On
your vicinity.
Yeah, and I've gotten asked that if there are any kind of ley lines.
Mhm.
Um, is there any, is it like sacred ground, like maybe like sacred Indian ground, where, you know, um, I don't know. Whatever is here, I feel energy here. Like there are trees that
Mhm.
I feel, like I can feel energy. Um, it's almost like an energy pool. I took a picture, which I was taking a picture towards my wood line, and one of my trees was like kind of like there, and I caught a grid line kind of coming out of the bottom of the tree,
Mhm.
and it actually showed up in one picture only. Yeah, it's the weirdest thing. Um, and I don't know how I caught that. I don't know how that showed up there. Um, I showed it to, I guess, these ladies that kind of are more in touch with like energy and spiritual and trees. And they basically said it looks like Celtic knots, like the tree of life.
Mhm.
And for some reason, I'm drawn to that tree. Like I feel like it's really pretty. It's a big tree. Um, and they were saying that, it's got a lot of energy.
Mhm.
So, I mean, maybe there's a lot of energy here on, you know, in this, I mean, maybe the neighborhood. I don't know. Um,
Mhm.
I mean, I do feel like I know one particular tree, I feel the energy pull.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Do
And then,
you? Oh,
mhm,
yeah. Please go.
okay. Well, there's also this other day I was walking around. This happened maybe like 2 years ago or so.
Mhm.
I was on the back. It was like during the day. It was probably maybe like 11 or 12 noon or so. I was walking, and because I walk the dog every now and then, and I was out there towards the back of my property, towards the end of the our wood line. And as I'm walking, I saw almost like a wave of light, or I don't even know how to explain it. And I saw it kind of pass in front of me. And I was thinking, what is that?
Mhm.
First, I thought, is it,
Mhm.
like maybe like a sun ray. I don't know. I couldn't explain that. I saw it with a naked eye. I didn't take pictures of it just because it caught me off guard. I was just walking, and it looked like a wave of light. And it was from like the sky down to like, the
Mhm.
dirt. So it's
Okay.
a long, um, I don't know what it was, but
Was there
that's
a
just
color
like some
to
of
it?
the, yeah, it looked like a light, like a yellow light.
Hmm. Yellow light, and it was almost like it was coming from the sky.
Yeah, the sky, but it was almost like a wave passing in front of me.
Mhm. Did you feel? Could you feel it?
I
When
didn't feel it. It felt normal.
Mhm.
I just saw like it, it 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 just looked like, the ocean, and a wave comes, but it was like a wave of light.
Oh, okay. That's kind of it's
It's
kind of
weird.
cool. It's
Yeah.
weird, right? It's weird, but it's cool. The tree. I mean, don't touch it. Don't touch it. But when you feel drawn to it, or have you touched it already?
I have, well, yes, because this is, I mean, um I walk around it like I have a tendency to talk to me.
Hmm.
I tell it how, because I love it. It's a beautiful tree. I love canopies, and the branches kind of they have a canopy, and
Right,
I
they're
like to
nice.
sit there underneath. Yeah. So I have touched it, and the other where I feel the energy pull, it's my peach tree. So
Mm.
I got to collect the peaches.
The peach
So,
tree, the peach tree is talking to you, and it's possible. It may be, it may because they say trees and plants, and they say they grow better when you talk to them. They
yeah.
trees and plants,
Yeah.
and I got an aloe plant. I don't have a green thumb, but I got an aloe plant. I don't talk to it yet, but I let it listen to music or whatever. So I'm trying
Mhm.
to get
They
to grow
like
more.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
They
You know
do
better than
better.
that. You know
Mhm.
better than that. Do you now the tree? Uh, does it feel a good energy? Does it give? Do you feel like
Yeah, I
hey,
do.
a boost?
Oh,
Or you feel good?
I don't. I don't have any. I know that I'm drawn to it for some reason. Like, I think it's so pretty, and I like to sit underneath it. I don't. I haven't noticed like any change in me though. Like, I don't
Mhm,
feel like it's. I don't feel negative energy though. But positive to where it affects me and I feel great afterwards, I don't feel that either. It's almost just like I thought it was just like a regular tree. I was
mhm,
just kind of drawn to it because I thought it was so pretty.
mhm. Okay, so I guess in a way that's good because you don't feel a feeling of fear or dread, but then you don't feel
Yeah, I
like,
don't.
oh,
Yeah,
I'm ready to take on Mike Tyson or something, nothing like
yeah,
that.
yeah. Nothing.
I got you.
Hmm.
Okay, have you noticed any strange lights around your property or anything in the
Yes, yes. I didn't at first. I didn't, and then my husband and I, he actually was the first one to notice a light.
Mm-mm.
I think I might have sent you the link to it. Um, we were on the deck, and he actually came in the house and said, "Hey, come look at this light."
Okay.
And it's this light that keeps, like, it's almost like it's turning colors,
Mhm.
and it just looks weird. It looks like similar to what other people catch, and they think it's a UFO because we
Mhm.
thought it might possibly be UFO. Um, he's actually the one that catches those because he's the one that has caught like three different ones.
Mhm.
Um, we've caught like orbs. We do have a trail camera, and we put it to where I kind of see where they hide.
Mhm.
So he set up the trail camera facing our cedar trees, our jungle gym and cedar tree area.
Mhm.
And this particular night, he was, he had put it in one of the trees, and he walked over to the jungle gym, and he's, waving at it to turn so it would turn on and make sure that it's working. So
Mhm.
you see the video, it catches, like, it turns on when, he's waving, and then there's this light that kind of comes down over him,
Mhm.
and it almost kind of walks, it's almost like it follows him a little bit,
Mhm.
and then it goes back up and almost like closer to the tree.
Mhm.
And we thought that was odd. And that
Mhm.
the same night, like, he was out there walking with the dog. So that was one clip of when the light. The next clip, it looks like there's a light coming from the cedar trees, and it looks like it's coming towards the trail camera. And then you see our dog. She's running, I guess, because he probably called her. So she's, coming back. But the funny thing is, he had just placed the camera, and it has a date.
Mhm.
It happened to be, I think, 10/17, 2017. And then the next, after that light hits it, the time changed. And I
Mm.
think it had brand new batteries and everything.
Mhm.
It went to like January of like 2015. 2015. It gave like an odd date. So the next video has like an odd date in time. It got all screwed up.
Mm.
So I thought,
Maybe like you said, oh
yeah, it
goodness.
was weird.
Maybe like you say, you're near the ley lines, and actually I was reading a book because I was very
Hmm.
interested in ley lines and grid lines. Maybe that had something to do with the time shift or whatever.
Yeah,
So,
because it happens. We had placed it
mhm.
now on our porch because there was a critter that was eating my plants. Like it was taking out of the pot, out of the pots. And he was like, "Well, what's eating the plants?" So we placed it there so we could catch to see what it was. We thought it was a groundhog. It didn't catch anything like who was taking my plants, but the time kept changing. Like
Mm,
I would adjust it and then it would go back. It went from anywhere from 2015 to like 2029.
mm,
So it was just odd things. Where he thought maybe it's just not. It's a defective trail
mm.
camera. Maybe it's just no good.
No, you just have a sneaky Bigfoot. That's what it is. That's what it is. Yeah. You uh that seems. I mean, we can go on about that. I mean,
Yeah.
between the time shift in the trail cam, in the orbs. So it you really have some crazy activity. I mean,
Yeah, it's just it's crazy and it's weird. And I mean, it's not like I said, it's not bad to where I need to move, like I need to get out of here. It's not that bad. Like if you like I
you
said, if you come to my house, you can come and sit out there. You would never know there's anything here. Like
know,
everything's peaceful, quiet. Um, you know, I think that if it was bad energy, I don't think I would be able to grow anything. But we can grow stuff, and stuff grows kind of big here.
oh yeah, yeah. I've
Yeah.
seen the pictures. You have some Jurassic Park.
Yes, they grow
You have
big.
Jurassic Park period. You have Jurassic Park vegetables. You have the humongous Bigfoot mamas and all that stuff around there. So
Hmm.
you definitely have something going on. Um, okay, Wendy, I think yeah, okay, we've gone past an hour. Um, and I think I've gotten the juicy stuff. I wanted to really
Yeah.
talk to you about like the juicy stuff,
Hmm.
like how your mother felt about things, the neighbors, and things
Hmm.
like that. Do you want to say anything about your arts and crafts because you do beautiful work? I'll let
Oh,
everybody
thank
know.
you.
It. Do you want to let anybody know? Because I think you're selling some things, right? Some arts and
I
crafts.
I I was. It's more like a hobby. So, um, it's like if I get special orders, kind of. I was doing like um soaps, like goat's milk soap. It's usually
Mm-hmm.
just like friends and family. And I also was doing like epoxy trays.
Hmm.
But I don't have like a site or anything. It's just more of a, if anybody says, "Hey, can you make this for me?" And then
Okay.
I'm like, "Okay."
And how would they get in touch with you? Like, how would you do you allow them to ask
Well,
you?
I don't, yeah, I don't have anything set up yet. Like
Okay, well, just Messenger, Facebook Messenger.
yeah,
Okay,
yes,
okay, then go through there. Okay, yeah, because your stuff is great, and I've seen it. I was like, she
thank
does
you.
such great work. I'm like, between the gardening and the soaps, and you know what? I'm gonna tell you, I just started working with. I just got ghee. Have you heard of ghee? It's like a cooking oil. Ghee,
Oh, mm-hmm,
right? Ghee, and cow fat. Well, cow fat, I people have used that long time ago, so that's nothing
mm-hmm.
new. But I just decided when I had a little bit of time to start working and trying to kind of find out how to make the soaps from the cow fat and things like
Mm.
that. It smells great. It's fantastic.
Yeah. So you're more advanced than me because I buy like the already. It's almost like it's the melt and pour. It's almost like I buy big blocks and then I
Hmm.
cut it down and then I melt it and add
Mm.
my essential oils and then I grow like botanicals in the garden. I dry them and then I add it. So you're more advanced than me because I don't know how to do it.
No, no, your stuff is awesome. My like if I do something, it comes out all crooked and raggedy looking, but your stuff is nice, it's neat. And it's like dudes would like my stuff that don't care, but like your stuff is
Hmm.
really nice. Like a lot of the women would love your stuff. But yeah,
Thank
so
you.
no, but thank you, and thank you for dealing with my schedule, my work schedule.
No, I
Uh,
know. I
Thank you very much. And thank you for coming on tonight and sharing information. And I know a lot of people wanted to know, you know, about what was going on in your thing. A lot of people have seen your fantastic photos online. Um, so what
thank
we'll
you.
do, we'll end the show, and as usual,
Okay.
you and I will chit chat as usual,
Mhm.
um, offline. So everybody, thank you for coming tonight. Wendy, I'm gonna cut you loose right now.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna
Thank you,
end
Dave.
it. And thank you very much for coming.
No,
Thank
thank you for having me.
you. Yes, ma'am.
Thanks.
Okay. And uh, if anything else happens on your property, let us know.
Yeah. I'll
Okay.
send you a message. Say, Dave.
Cornelius is here. Okay. Thank you, dear. And we'll
Thanks,
talk
Dave.
later. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for coming tonight. We had a great show with Wendy. She definitely has a lot of Bigfoot activity. She's one of I guess Bigfoot buddies. She's a great lady. And everybody, thank you for watching tonight. And make sure you like and subscribe. Somebody told me I have to learn to say that, so please like and subscribe. Okay. Have a good night.